freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 385 of Gun Freedom Radio, where we engage, we educate, and we inform. We are brought to you by azfirearmsauctions.com, where you set the price on guns, ammo, and accessories. I am one of your hosts, Cheryl Todd.
And I'm the other guy, Dan Todd. Our theme today is Building a Sharper Future, and our guest is Doug Ritter. Doug is the founder and chairman of Knife Rights. He is an award-winning writer and subject matter expert on survival gear, which led him to developing his own acclaimed line of Doug Ritter RSK knives. Doug currently spends the majority of his time rewriting knife law in America to benefit individual liberties. Knife Rights has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are building a sharper future as we rewrite knife laws in America. As of August 2022, Knife Rights is responsible for 39 bills repealing knife bans in 25 states and over 150 cities and towns. Who would know?
Who would know? Welcome back to the show, Doug. It's been too long.
Always a pleasure, Cheryl. Dan.
Absolutely. And you know, I think a lot of times people, they just don't even understand the need for the work you do until you've done the work. And then we get to shout from the rooftop, 39 bills.
Right. You mean, so, you know, I think of a pocket knife as the same as a knife in my kitchen drawer.
Yeah.
There's no difference between the two.
It's a tool.
Right. And so are you telling me there's cities and states that are trying to get knives out of my drawer?
Actually, the vast majority of knife laws that we're repealing were passed either right after the Civil War or in the 1950s. But yeah, we also have defeated 9 bills in 6 states that were attempting to further restrict knives. So yeah, there are people out there trying to restrict knives in much the same way that they try to restrict guns. It's just we're a Second Amendment organization, but we get support from the left, which because it's not guns, because it's knives, and for them it's criminal justice reform. I mean, the arguments are the same in many respects, but because it's knife, not guns, you know, 39 bills in 25 states since 2010.
That is
Wow.
so interesting. So your organization is kind of a bridge builder in a lot of ways. And then when the other side realizes, oh, wait, I just voted yes for a Second Amendment related law. I mean,
it's quite ironic sometimes, but the fact of the matter is, we have bills sponsored by NRA F-rated legislators sometimes.
that is
It's
really
not
something.
guns is all I can say, and they can they get it because it's not guns. And sometimes afterwards they'll tell us, yeah, now I understand, but if I want to stay in office, it's very sad. But you know, we are decidedly a Second Amendment organization, the Second Amendment organization that nobody ever heard of. You know, the Second Amendment doesn't say anything about firearms. It says arms. And this tool that we carry, some people carry as a tool for self-defense. And sometimes, even though you're carrying it to open boxes, it ends up being used as a tool for self-defense.
Yeah.
So we are decidedly the second front in the defense of the Second Amendment.
That's fantastic. And you said that a lot of these laws that you're talking about date all the way back to, did you say the Civil War?
Yeah, right after the Civil War. If you recall your history, right after the Civil War, the southern states basically the Jim Crow laws tried to ensure that blacks didn't have firearms. Well, then blacks started carrying Bowie knives and long knives. And so there were restrictions against Bowie knives and daggers and dirks and length restrictions. All those came in right after the Civil War. And then in the 1950s, we had the whole switchblade hysteria, and almost half the states enacted some form of switchblade ban or restriction over nothing but, Puerto Rican gangs.
Well, that's how we ended up on the firearm side of things with, suppressors needing special, permission to own and taxes to own because, the mob activity and some of the other things, and even like the Saturday night specials you talk about a lot on the show that they were being used, they're cheap, firearms, they were being used in a lot of crimes. And so this law came around and tried to include in it a whole lot of other guns that were not the problem, and it's never the tool, right?
It's never the tool, whether it's a knife or a firearm or a baseball bat, it's the person wielding the tool. And that's our message. It just seems to be accepted a little bit more because I think in part, not only is it not guns, but so many people on both sides of the political divide carry a knife every day. They have knives in their kitchen. I mean, it's just more acceptable. And we often find ourselves convincing individuals who are either anti-Second Amendment or are ambivalent about the Second Amendment that the Second Amendment actually means something to them because of knives. So yeah, we're sort of out there getting the message across that the Second Amendment is your Second Amendment as well.
Yeah.
And that always feels good when we do that. When we go to shows, we get a lot of people who come to the booth, especially when we're currently doing our Ultimate Steel Spectacular fundraiser, and they see all these incredible knives that they can win and guns. And it's like, oh, so they're basically the same. Yeah, really they are.
Yeah.
Just nobody ever heard of knife rights, and everybody knows who the NRA, the Second Amendment Foundation, Gun Owners of America, all our friends on the Second Amendment side. So yeah, we need their support too.
I remember when I was a kid, way back. I mean, way back, right?
The dinosaurs
and switchblades were taboo. Switchblades were like, ooh. And I, just thinking about it now, why were they taboo? The movies. The movies, the gangs had the switchblade knives, the bikers, and it was, it's just strange. It's kind of not funny, but how guns in movies gives a bad impression on guns when it's really not the gun. And they did the same thing with knives back then.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Yeah, it's a big marketing.
We've dedicated ourselves to getting rid of those bans, and we're making good progress. This year has been very good for us. We repealed Virginia's outright ban on all switchblades. And I will note we did that with a Democratic-controlled Senate unanimously. In Louisiana, we got rid of their ban on concealed carry of switchblades after we had gotten rid of their ban on concealed carry of other knives, and the absolute ban on switchblades over the last few years. Ohio, last year, we got their ban on basically all illegal knives repealed, including switchblades. You could carry a switchblade, but you couldn't manufacture or sell one in Ohio. So we got rid of that. We got the law changed so that the only time that a knife is an illegal weapon is when it's actually used to commit a crime.
Yay.
Hey, doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
And this year we passed knife law preemption, which got rid of all the other restrictions at the city and town level. That's, I think, the 12th knife law preemption. We have firearms preemption in most of the states, but knife law preemption is something that we introduced first in 2010. Alabama and Georgia both passed constitutional carry this year. We were instrumental in ensuring that those covered knives as well, because they both had some onerous knife restrictions. And we're still working in Pennsylvania to get rid of their switchblade ban and pass knife law preemption. Most people don't know that Philadelphia is the most restrictive city in the country. It is basically illegal to carry any knife except at work.
Wow.
So if we pass preemption, that would get rid of that. We're through the House unanimously. The Senate's going to be a bigger lift, but we'll get it done this year, or we'll get it done next year. Part of our success is our perseverance. Look at New York City, perhaps our most important win. I mean, that took 9.5 years, over 70,000 individuals arrested for carrying the same kind of pocket knife you carry in your knife today. 2 vetoes from Governor Cuomo, our case up for conference at the Supreme Court. And because even though it wasn't a Second Amendment case, it would have helped the Second Amendment in the Second Circuit. He signed our bill finally, after it was passed unanimously, but for 1 vote through the very democratic New York Senate and House.
So do you get that one guy, Doug, that goes, I like knives. I think they're beautiful. There's all kinds of engravings and beautiful custom knives built, but why would anybody need a switchblade?
We get that all the time. And when our lobbyist goes to the legislature, he has trainers of switchblades, assisted openings, manually opening knives, and fixed blades. And it doesn't open any faster. And we live in the United States. The United States is not about need.
Right.
The United States is about want. And you don't need a lot of things, but you're allowed to want them in the US. And if it doesn't hurt anyone else, why shouldn't you be able to?
Boy,
And what we don't need is the government telling us what we can do.
That's the thing. This
there you go.
This permission-based system that we've allowed to pop up and crop up all over. And you said Philadelphia, like the birthplace of freedom.
Yep. Isn't that ironic?
It's so ironic.
But I really like the fact that a knife is a knife until you use it in a criminal way. Now it becomes an illegal weapon.
Yeah,
really it's the behavior that's illegal.
That language is something that we hope to continue to use. It makes it so clear that this is a tool, unless it's not. So, everything we do is about allowing people to carry whatever they want, pretty much wherever they want, unless it's a prohibited place. And we're making good progress. I mean, the biggest problem we have is always financial. We're a very small organization, but it still costs a lot to travel all over the country. I recently paid just over $2,000 for a round trip flight for our lobbyists to Pennsylvania. That would have cost economy class. That would have cost $600 or $700 round trip a year ago. So our expenses have gone up hugely. We would love it if folks would help us raise the money that we need to continue to do this. We have a fundraiser called the Ultimate Steel Spectacular. Custom knives, we got $26,000. Well, no, we've got more because we got to. So about $30,000 worth of firearms prizes. Just a lot of really cool stuff. Knives valued up to $5,000.
Wow.
Just an incredible, and it's winner's choice. So if you donate and you get chosen as a winner, then you get to pick your prize from everything that's left. So the first person picked gets picked from everything, and the second person gets picked from everything but what the first person picked. We think that really makes it exciting because people can get what they want. And we've just launched our tail end bonus, which is a second drawing for those who donate now. So there's custom knives valued up to, I think, $2,000. Again, firearms, there's all these incredible prizes. So if you donate now, you get a chance to win in 2 separate drawings. And even if you get picked in the tail end, the ticket goes back in, digitally, goes back in, and you can still win in the main drawing.
So how do they do that, Doug?
How do they
do
what?
How does the person enter into that?
Go. Good question. Go to kniferights.org and just click on the Ultimate Steel. It's real easy. We have bonus knives. We've got SOG, Cold Steel, Spyderco bonus knives. If you give it certain levels, $100, $200, $300, $400, $500. So you get a really cool knife with really cool engraving just for donating. And 2 chances to win in 2 separate drawings with incredible prizes. I mean, just incredible prizes.
I'm just looking here on the website, kniferights.org. And so are you saying that it sounds like when you donate, you're sort of jockeying for position? Like, I want to be the first pick, so I'm going to donate to a certain level to be the first pick.
Like any similar drawing, the more you donate, the more chances you get. And the more you donate, the more free chances you get. So every time, every level gives you more opportunities to win the prize. I mean, that's, it's similar to a raffle, I suppose you could say. So buy more tickets. In other words, give us more money. You get more chances that you're going to win. And you get to pick your prize. And if you look at those prizes, I mean, it's just an incredible array of firearms and custom knives and celebrity autographed knives. It's really, I'm a little biased, but I think it's one of the best fundraisers out there.
Nice.
I love it. And, that's the way you said that, the more you donate, the more you can win. I mean, really, you could use that both ways. You could win these very cool prizes, and you also are winning freedom. You're winning freedom all across this nation.
Yes. And we can't do what we do. Okay. So there's basically 4 of us. My wife, Sue, who you know well, me, a part-time admin, and our lobbyist. And we've accomplished all this with just those 4 people. But it still costs a lot of money for travel and lawyers and all the rest of the stuff we do. This is a credible opportunity. People say, well, what if I only give $20? Do I really have a chance to win? And I can assure you, we have seen $20 donors win multi-$1,000 knives and really cool firearms. Yeah, you really do have a chance.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I can put this right, but it's like, okay, so everybody knows they're trying to take our guns away.
Yeah.
So it's real easy to donate to these groups to help fight the fight. A lot of people don't even know that they're trying to take our knives away, that they are trying to restrict us. And so it's ultra hard for you guys because some people aren't aware. They're just, who would think?
Most people aren't aware. One of our biggest problems is, we can't promote the Ultimate Steel on Facebook. We can post, but if people don't share those posts and then they shadow ban us, same thing with Instagram. So getting the word out like we're doing now about this incredible fundraiser and what we do and how we do it is really important. We need folks' help. I can't do this just by myself. I can spend all my time, but if we don't have the money to send our lobbyists around and me around to actually get in the legislature, get in the state house, talk to the legislators. I mean, that's one reason we've been so successful. We show up. We work with both sides and we get this stuff done. And if it takes 9.5 years, that's fine. That's what it takes. We'll just keep plugging away at it. And, you know, and many times it's like Ohio, Tennessee, or Louisiana, all these things, you know, we get as much done as we can, and then we can come back and get more done, and then eventually we get it all done and there's nothing left to do. And you know, I love taking our map that shows where we get stuff done, which is on our homepage, and turning states green, because there's nothing left for us to do.
Oh,
Nice.
isn't that amazing? And the other thing is, you know, for the simple gesture, I guess, of carrying a knife, not wielding it, not harming people, not being aggressive with it, people have done serious time in jail and prisons, and it ruins their lives. It ruins their opportunities for where they can work and serve in their communities. And
Well,
these are the things you're correcting.
And that's why we fight so hard for this. I mean, if you look at New York, over 70,000 people arrested in a decade.
Oh,
Anyone who had a prior, even if it was 20 or 30 years before, were upgraded to a felony.
oh,
Some people just carrying their knife
right.
went up the river literally for 5 or 6 years. I mean, that was just, it was disgusting what they were doing. And it had absolutely no basis in reality. But if we hadn't come along, they'd still be doing it.
Oh, for sure.
And I mean, that was a huge fight. We spent nearly $1 million over the course of 9.5 years.
Wow.
But I mean, New York City is, you know, a terrible place if you're a believer in freedom or you just want to carry your tool.
Mhm.
And I take an incredible amount of pride in that particular fight, because it was the worst case of abuse of enforcement in our country, really, in many respects.
Right.
And
Like,
we won.
like how do you buy a new chef's knife and get from the store to your house? Like, how does,
So
is it that
technically,
ridiculous
in
sometimes?
Philadelphia, it's illegal.
That crazy. Like,
Yeah.
we got to think these things through. So let me ask you this.
Just go back to the fact that it's how you use it. If everything would just go to, it doesn't matter what you own, it's how you use it is
Right.
going to cause whether or not you go to jail or not.
Right.
That's the crazy thing. It's so simple.
Right. And everybody's buying everything online these days. So the UPS guy and the FedEx guy is like committing
Yep.
felonies left, right, and center, has no idea, right? Because we have stupid, pointless, just punitive laws that aren't actually doing any good. They might sound good, they might feel good to somebody, but they're
If
not
they're
actually
not actually
doing good.
stopping crime, and none of these restrictions, whether it's on firearms or knives, do, then
Right.
we don't need those laws.
Thank
We
you.
need to stop criminals. We
Yes.
really need to stop criminals,
Yes.
but we
Stop
don't need to
letting
stop
criminals.
honest people from carrying tools, particularly if they're carrying them for self-defense.
Amen. And I was going to say, and stop criminals from just being immediately released back out on the streets to drive those crime rates up, to gives the other side more positioning and ammunition, for lack of a better word, to say, you know, look, we need tougher and tougher laws. It's like, well, sometimes we just need to enforce the laws and
We have
follow
plenty
through on the
of laws. We
laws.
don't need more laws. We just need to
Amen.
enforce the laws that we currently have on the books and get rid of the
Exactly.
ones that don't actually accomplish anything.
So, well, let me ask you this about the recent Supreme Court decision on the Bruen versus, speaking of New York,
Yeah.
The New York Rifle and Pistol Association. Now, that was really talking about you know, we can keep arms, but can we bear arms? Are we allowed to bear arms, take arms out with us? And the topic was really about guns, as far as any of the sound bites that I can find. But again, the Second Amendment is about arms, which include knives. So does
Bruen,
that impact you guys
yes.
at all in the work you do?
So Bruen was the 12th Second Amendment lawsuit that we filed an amicus brief on. we are a Second Amendment organization. There are cases that significantly impact knife owners as well as the Second Amendment. Bruen was one of those cases. Yes, it was about guns, but what it is, it established a number of really important points. One was that the Second Amendment applied to carry of a weapon, a arm outside of the home. Really important whether you're carrying a firearm or you're carrying a knife. It reinforced that carrying an arm for self-defense is a protected right for self-defense, and that the Second Amendment, and we're a Second Amendment organization, it is not a second-class right. It needs to be treated the same as every other right. All of these things are important to knife owners, and it's why we have been so involved in submitting amicus briefs on a number of Second Amendment cases. I should say that some of our knife cases that we have been successful in have been cited in Second Amendment cases involving firearms because they establish good precedent. So it really is, we really are part of the Second Amendment community. We're not just saying that. We're active in the things that matter to gun owners. We hope that the gun owners listening to you will help us continue to do this, because, it's all one fight.
Yeah,
we're just the second front in the defense of the Second Amendment, but it's our Second Amendment and it's our rights that are at risk. And there will be a lot more lawsuits. New York, California, and others have already enacted patently unconstitutional laws in reaction to the win in Bruen. We will be there being a party to amicus briefs and fighting these ridiculous reactions. That's what we do.
I heard the thing in New York how they're going around that law that the Supreme Court ruled. And it reminds me of my daughter when she was little. She used to say, I want it because I want it.
Yeah. I want to if I want.
Yeah, I want to if I want. And that's what they're doing.
That's about the way it works.
Right. And it's like they're not going to take no for an answer. You're going to, well, I can't say what we have to do. But
look, we're going to be fighting the Second Amendment battle. Our kids are probably going to be fighting the Second Amendment battle. The fact of the matter is, we only retain these freedoms when we fight for them. And whether that's at the polls and trying to elect Second Amendments, real Second Amendment supporting members of our legislature, governors, senators, congressmen, whether that's fighting them in court like we'll be doing forever, or whether it's fighting them in the legislature and getting rid of really bad restrictive laws that don't accomplish anything to reduce crime. It's all one and the same. If we don't fight, they're going to take our rights away. It's right. That's just the way it is. You can't just rest on your laurels or think, we won Bruen, everything's good. Nobody that was seriously involved with this didn't expect that New York and California and New Jersey and other states weren't going to react to Bruen by, legislating more restrictions that are of constitutional, that are unconstitutional. And that's all going to have to be litigated. It's unfortunate, but they just don't take no for an answer.
Well, Doug, I want to say, if we don't fight the fight, our kids aren't going to be able to fight the fight. It'll be too late.
That's exactly
we've seen
right.
that, right? We've seen that.
What you and I and the folks listening to this show, what we do today, what motivates me is kids, grandkids, great grandkids. I mean, the future of America. If they can get rid of the Second Amendment, they can get rid of the First Amendment. They can get rid. It's look what they're doing with cancel culture and all the rest of this thing. These are really important battles. These are the things folks need to think about when they go to the polls in November. We are determining the future of this country and the future that our kids and grandkids and great grandkids are going to grow up in. And that's what gets me up and going every morning. I'm sure you've been there. You wake up in the morning, you're like, why the hell am I doing this? And when you think about what's coming that day that you know is coming, but what motivates me is thinking about future generations and the dream that is America,
Yes.
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are the things that get me going in the morning when I know it's just going to be one of those days.
You know, and the sad thing about this,
So
the cancel culture is a small minority. And if we would just get off our butts and do something, we could clear this. There's such a small group. And I look at that
noisy.
too. And I look at that too with our politicians. If you think how many politicians there are on this United States versus how many citizens there are,
Right.
and they're telling us what we can do and what we can't do,
It's crazy.
it's just wake up, right?
Right.
So it gets back to get involved and fight.
Absolutely.
It's easy to get on the internet and bang on the keyboard or on your phone, and that's not really getting involved. It's getting involved. Getting involved is volunteering, whether you're volunteering for knife rights or other Second Amendment organizations, volunteering to get the candidates elected that you want. All the candidates, they need people. They need people to put up the signs that we all hate seeing on the corners. They need people to make phone calls. They need people to drop off lead lists, man tables at events. That is how you make a difference.
Yeah.
More people get involved, the more pro-2A legislators we get elected, the more pro-2A people we get elected to Congress and the Senate and governorships and attorney generals. This is how you can make a difference. As satisfying as it may be to be snarky on the keyboard, that isn't going to change anyone's mind. It may make you feel better.
Right.
But actually getting out there and fighting and helping, getting candidates elected, helping Second Amendment organizations like Knife Rights and others to do what they do in rolling back bad laws and stopping bad laws. This is how you make a difference, whether it's financial support or actually getting out there and working if you can't afford financially. That's how things get done. All of these things go into making a better America and retaining our rights.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Well, as we start wrapping up, not only I want you to remind folks about this awesome fundraiser that I keep glancing down at while you're talking, because it looks really, really exciting. But, how do they volunteer? How do they find out and stay on top of all the work that you're doing in all of the states? So give us some feedback.
We have our free News Slice newsletter, which you won't get bombarded every day, and we send it out when we have something important to say, when we're actually accomplishing things, when we actually need people to write their legislators or write their governor to get something done, or we have something going on like our Ultimate Steel Spectacular. If you go to kniferights.org, you can sign up for a free newsletter. That's the easiest way. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Please share our posts on Facebook and Instagram because we're shadow banned. We got tens of thousands of followers, and a good post will get seen by 1,000 people. If it's shared, we can get 8 or 10 or 20,000 people. So sharing those posts on Instagram and on Facebook is really important. Just go to kniferights.org, click on our free newsletter, join, sign up for, click on the Ultimate Steel, and any donation more than $60, you get extra chances to win, and you get an annual membership. I mean, we've got a lot of ways that folks can contribute and help us and keep track. Just go to kniferights.org and it's all there for you.
Doug,
And-
when is the drawing end for the knives?
So August 15th is the end. So they still got, a few weeks to get this done. We just really need people's help. It's not getting easier. We did the easy states early on. Every state that we work in now is a battle, but as proof of what we discussed earlier, we're getting stuff done. We're the ones that are out there getting it done for knife owners, and the vast majority of the people listening to you, they're firearms owners. They're also knife owners, and we need your support.
That's fantastic. One more quick question. You mentioned you have a map on the website where a state will go green if it's like, okay, we've accomplished what we can accomplish. Have you ever had a state revert back from green because we
Never.
aren't paying attention? Never?
Never.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's really hard to get stuff to the green, but once there, people are like, yeah, okay, no problems have ever occurred. So why do we change that? I should also mention that we also have an app called the Legal Blade app, which is especially important for people who travel on Apple and on Android. All the knife laws of the 50 states, plus the District of Columbia, plus about 40 of the largest cities, plus links to where you can find the codes for cities and counties throughout the United States. So very useful, especially if you travel.
Well, for sure. And you called it the Legal Blade app.
Again,
fantastic.
if you go to kniferights.org and scroll down, you will find it there.
Awesome. Doug, thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for taking this time with us today. We're so blessed to know you and your awesome wife, Sue, and that we get to share the state of Arizona is just an extra bonus. So
even at 114 degrees.
Yeah.
Doug, thank you very
yes.
much for protecting our Second Amendment. I mean, seriously, that's it's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. I treasure our friendship, and we're all in this together, and we'll just continue fighting. And it's not going to end, but we're going to have more victories as long as we all stick together.
Absolutely. All right. We will talk to you soon.
You take care.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you just don't think about that. I mean, and the good thing about what Doug is doing is that by the time you do think about it, he's already fixed that.
And
in some states. So
when you think about the fact that it's 4 people, and it seems like every organization really comes down to like a handful of people that are doing all the work. Now we need a ton of volunteers and that sort of thing. But the behind the scenes nitty gritty, it really always comes down to just a few people.
Yeah. And you know what? And you got to really be careful about that. You need more help because sometimes people get sick.
Right.
Some people pass away.
Right.
And we want organizations that are trying to protect our rights to flourish, right?
Exactly.
You want them to keep going. And if you don't help with that, then we could lose. I mean, think about our rights in the 1930s, right? Versus what they are today. We've lost so many of our rights. The Second Amendment has been attacked from ever since the Civil War, I guess. Right. And for all people. And
so much of it is like the education, right? And the culture of a nation and a time in history, because our founding fathers and mothers who fought, bled, starved, and died just to have the opportunity to write this document, right? To secure our freedoms by saying this is what the government can and cannot do, right? And now you flash forward a couple hundred years, and now people are like giving away the freedom. They're
trading.
Celebrating when our rights are infringed on. And it's like, what? is the matter with us? Why do we feel like we need to beg for the opportunity to protect what we love? Because that really is what it all comes down to. There's one universal.
Right.
We all want to protect what we love. Why would anyone try to restrict anyone else in their ability to do that?
And they compromise. Let's take 1934 Gun Control Act.
Mhm.
The reason, I think it's 1934, I'm almost certain, that act was created because just a handful of people were using machine guns in crimes in like Chicago area.
Mhm.
So what do? They take away our rights
Mhm.
by restricting the use of full auto guns,
Mhm.
which I remind you, a handful of people
Right.
were already breaking the law.
Right.
They're already killing with those guns, which is already against the law.
Right.
And they took those. And in 1934, they said, okay, a Thompson machine gun was like $14. I mean, they were under $100, right?
Mhm.
But the tax for it to own that gun was $200. You take that today's language, that's like $3,000 or $4,000.
Yeah.
And so they changed our Second Amendment right to own
Mhm.
over a few people.
Yeah. Who
And
were
did it stop the criminals? Stop? No.
they were already criminals
And,
doing
right.
illegal behavior and murdering people.
And machine guns didn't stop. They didn't stop using machine guns.
No, it's just nutty when you
Yeah.
stop and think about it. It's nutty. But if we, as this generation, as parents, as aunts and uncles and grandparents and great grandparents, if we are not actively teaching the next generation, somebody is.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Somebody is always teaching. And when you abdicate that and you just let somebody else teach your family members, well, this is where we end up. So we've got to be more involved from the kitchen table to the what's the name of the desk in the Oval Office? I think it changes, but you know what I'm
The
saying.
toilet.
Stop.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's where, okay. I thought.
We have got to be more involved because our founders promised us one thing. You know what that was? Eternal vigilance is the only promise that they made us. That's it.
Well,
That it would take eternal vigilance in order to preserve our republic. Republic, not
And-
our democracy, a republic.
but it's scary because they're not teaching that to the kids. And
Who-
I have to tell
Yeah,
you that what's
they are
that- right,
teaching that
right.
to kids.
we should be. I know
are
that.
teaching that to the
But I
kids.
saw
Make it personal.
a thing on the Facebook
The
a
Facebook.
couple of days ago where a guy went to a graduation, high school graduation. So these are college bound kids.
Mhm.
And he asked one girl who was in a cap and gown, and I don't think it was a setup because there was others there, and asked her, what are the two countries that border the United States? She couldn't answer it.
No.
She couldn't answer it. So if they don't know that, people, how are they going to know what a Second Amendment and our constitutional rights are? They didn't know that Mexico and Canada. He even said it's up north, and she couldn't answer that question.
Well, on that cheery note, all right.
Right? I mean,
Well-
if they're not teaching the Constitution in the schools nowadays.
No.
So
They're not teaching critical thinking. And for the longest time, I've just thought, what is the deal with that? And I think I know now, because in the age of information, if all you can do is gobble down whatever's handed to you, partially pre-chewed and partially digested like a baby bird, if that's all that you are capable of doing, it doesn't matter if you're in the age of information and have
Right.
all knowledge from all ages at your fingertips.
yeah, we should be
You
smarter than
can't
anybody right
interact
now.
with it,
We should be the smartest generation that there ever was,
right?
when we can look up anything we want
Right.
in seconds.
But instead, all we do is just, oh, well, this site said gobble, and so
Or I don't have to worry about what it
that's
is.
what I parrot back
Right.
out.
Or I don't have to worry about what it is until I need to look it up.
Yeah, well, that
You know?
too. But
So,
anyway,
sad.
there's some things we need to be doing better, and
Like praying
starting
for a nation.
yesterday. Absolutely that. But before we get to that, I want to remind people that you can go back and watch all of our
What?
shows from all of our subject
Get
matter
out of here.
experts. And you can do that on our YouTube channel,
Even that one?
even that one.
Whoa.
And the our Gunstreamer channel, so gunstreamer.com. And when you do that, please click on the subscribe button and the notifications button, because then you'll get all the fresh content right away. And it lets those sites know that the work we're doing here is important to you and important to the world. So we'd appreciate that. And if you want to just listen to the audio only version, because you're out on a bike ride or a long car ride with the family on a Sunday or something, go to our website, GunFreedomRadio.com, click the on demand tab, and
Binge listens to your heart's content, darling.
he does that so beautifully. If you like to see photos and bios
Oh my.
of all of our guests that have ever been on, click the guest tab. And holy cow, that is a huge resource of subject matter experts throughout the rights community. We stray a little off of, because we're Gun Freedom Radio. So sometimes we don't talk necessarily about Second Amendment or gun related things. Sometimes we talk about constitutional things or even educational things. So we've got a great database there. When you spend time on our website, we don't hate that.
No.
So, all right. So now we're going to.
Well, we should have prayed for a nation all the time,
All the time.
not just at the end of the show.
That's true. That's true. Pray without ceasing.
Pray that people get off their fannies
Yeah.
come election time.
Yeah.
And research. Do your research.
Yeah.
Think about what you're going to vote for. I mean, Cheryl and I, we've been debating over the governor race.
Mhm.
And we have been having some really heavy conversations, not arguments, but conversations about why this, why that. And, most people think, well, what does it matter? It doesn't matter. Whoever's going to win is going to win. And that's not true. The best person is going to win if we vote right, if we research and vote right.
Yeah. And if our elections
We don't
count
want
for
another
anything,
mistake.
which is what,
Yeah.
we really hope as well, is that our elections are actually secure.
Yeah.
And that every single person's vote counts equally. That's what we hope.
Yeah, we kind of had some
And
problems with
pray.
that in Arizona, didn't we?
I believe we did.
Yeah.
There are people that
Anyway.
still want to just be
What's
like,
that?
nope, it was the most secure election in all of history. And it's
Then
like,
tell me
if
that.
that's true, then we really have something.
Then tell me that
worry about.
after you watch, what is it, 2,000 Mules?
2,000 mules.
Yeah.
Holy
Watch
cow.
2,000
Now
Mules.
now YouTube's going to pull this
Okay.
because you said that,
Well-
because they do not like
Okay.
the mention
All right.
of that show.
Reverse. Go watch 2,000 Donkeys.
Donkeys.
Hee haw. Hee haw is all I can say.
That
right?
used to be a good show too.
Yeah. Hee haw. Yeah.
All right,
Anyway.
we really have to get out of here. So please pray for our nation, pray for our elected officials and people in leadership positions, all of them.
Representative positions, not leadership. They, oh,
No, I'm not just talking about elected officials. I'm talking about, organizational leaders, right?
yeah.
Like Doug and Sue. They're leaders in the knife rights organization. We need to be praying for the work they do and for them. And even the people who are in elected positions that maybe we don't like too much, we maybe pray especially for them.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Until next time, be good to each other. Have a great week, and God bless.
Bye-bye.